Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the channel. This is Mr. R, and today we're going to be dropping some pretty mind-blowing theories in relation to the new map for DLC 2, releasing in just under a week, The Tomb. The Tomb is set to release with the start of Season 2 on January 28th, making this the shortest gap we've ever gotten between two Zombies DLC maps ever. None of us were expecting this to happen so soon, but hopefully this is a good sign that we'll be getting even more maps than we expected this year with Black Ops 6 instead of the 4 DLC maps that we were expecting. As the release of DLC 2, The Tomb, approaches, the community has been speculating on a few different things, and today we'll discuss some of the more prevailing theories and consider just how they might fold within the new map. So first, let's talk about the Wonder Weapon on the Tomb. Treyarch mentioned that the new map will feature a Wonder Weapon inspired by a classic from one of their previous games. And there are a few theories as to what this could be, and there are some likely and unlikely contenders in there. First, of course, we're expecting the Wonder Waffle DG2 to make an appearance at some point in the life cycle of the game. And I've seen a few people speculating that it could come with this map, but I think that's pretty unlikely since we saw Richtofen use the Wunderwaffe in the opening cutscene of Liberty Falls. So I think it's more likely that we'll probably not see that until we get to one of the later DLC maps with Mansion, whether that ends up being DLC 3 or DLC 4. One of the most prevalent theories, as well as one of the most likely ones, is the Ice Staff from Origins, since this map has been called sort of a spiritual successor to Origins. Folks think it's pretty likely that we'll get at least one, if not all, of the staffs from Origins in the map. I don't personally think that this will be the case, though, because I find it hard to believe that Treyarch would only bring one of the staffs back and not bring back the rest of them as well. The most likely, in my opinion, yet also the least talked about, is the Staff of Ra from Black Ops 4. This is another staff with similar properties to the staffs from Origins, but honestly, with the way the storyline is going, I think that this makes a lot more sense. Since we've been so deep into the Chaos storyline so far in Black Ops 6, it would only make sense to bring back one of the most important relics from that storyline, especially in a map like this one, where we're definitely going to be spending a lot of time underground. Okay, there are also some similarities on the map between Ancient Evil and some of the other iconography that we saw from Black Ops 4's maps that, in my opinion, make the Staff of Ra the more likely candidate. It's also been teased that we'll be seeing the return of a classic, iconic SMG from a previous installment as well. There are a couple options for this, but honestly, we're not going to discuss this much. I think the most likely option for this is probably the MP40, and if you've been playing Zombies for a while, you'll be extremely familiar with this gun. Other options could include maybe the PPSH or the Thompson, but those are both popular and iconic weapons from the games. I don't think they're quite as recognizable, though, as the MP40. And if we're talking about iconic, it doesn't get much more iconic than that. Now, let's talk about the storyline a little bit. Obviously, we know that the Tomb picks up right after the events of Citadel Day More, with the dedicated crew of Maya, Carver, Gray, and Weaver heading to the nearby excavation site after talking with Kraft at the Citadel. We know that we're also looking for the Sentinel artifact, so that could mean many things. We might find it here, we might not. It's possible that this could be another sort of setup map and that we could end up having to wait until the next map to find it or later on in the storyline. But I think it's pretty likely that we find the artifact here underground at the Tomb. This could mean that we activate some sort of a trial and we have to go through some sort of a trial or a test similar to what we had to do with the Black Ops 4 maps, which will really ramp up that chaos feeling and very much get us back into that headspace, which isn't somewhere that we've gone in a really long time. And that could be super exciting and super interesting. Another interesting tidbit is based on some of these pictures that we've seen. There's this triangle-shaped pyramid-type door located somewhere in the underground area. which is incredibly reminiscent of the Elder Sigil that you see in Modern Warfare Zombies. So I'm wondering if we'll make use of this, perhaps heading into the Dark Aether sometime during this map. Maybe it serves as some kind of foreshadowing for something that's to come in a later installment and we don't actually use it, but honestly, I think the fact that Treyarch showcased this image on their Twitter and the fact that it's even in the game at all is pretty indicative that it has some sort of involvement with a deeper story. So we very likely could be heading inside of the Dark Aether during this map, and that could result in some very interesting story beats, which we can talk about in a later video if anybody's interested in hearing about that. Lastly, unrelated to the map itself, I just want to talk a little bit about the content cycle of the game in general. When the game came out, we were expecting the 2 maps that we got at launch plus 4 additional DLCs, and we are already just about at the point where we've gotten 2 of those maps. Does that mean that throughout the rest of the life cycle of the game we'll only be getting 2 more? Or is there room in there for some additional content? Now, the worrying part of this is that if they really are only releasing 2 more maps, we'll only have 2 new maps coming out over the remaining 4 seasons of the game. Well, we've gotten 4 maps already within the first 4 months of the game's release. That would be incredibly front-loaded in terms of content, and admittedly the games always tend to sort of die out a bit in the middle to the end of its life cycle, but it wouldn't really make sense for them to give us so much content in the beginning and then make us wait so long for the next advancement of the storyline. Now, of course, we're dealing with Treyarch, and nothing is confirmed, so this could go either way, but I'm hopeful that the rate at which we're getting content doesn't slow down too much, and if we get a map every season until the game ends, we could have received 6 DLC Zombies maps before the start of the next Call of Duty, which would be crazy. I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen. However, there are some folks on Twitter that said that there will be more than 4 DLC maps total. And that same person also correctly predicted the date of both the announcement for the Tomb as well as its release date. He didn't, however, say how many maps would be coming. So my hope is that we'll actually be getting not just 1, not even 2, but we may be getting Zombie Chronicles 2 during the life cycle of Black Ops 6. Now, when Zombie Chronicles 1 released, it did make a lot of sense in regards to the story. Right now, with where we're at in the storyline, it doesn't really make sense to go in and remaster all of the old maps from Black Ops 2 and 3, but I think there's potential for some of the maps from the Chaos story to be remastered. Now, I know that all of us, myself included, would much rather see maps like Shadows of Evil, Gorod Krovi, Der Eisendrache remastered, but considering where we're at in the storyline and the life cycle of Call of Duty Zombies in general at the moment, being able to replay through all of those Chaos maps with a different lens could be a really interesting experience. Now, of course, all of these details are purely speculative. None of this is confirmed, and we really don't know what to expect when it comes to this map. But it's crazy to think that we're so close to release, and I'm sure that we'll get more information in the coming days through Treyarch's Twitter. So as more information comes out, be sure to check out the channel for more updates on what we can expect when the map launches on January 28th. As always, thank you very much for watching. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and drop a comment below letting me know whether or not you're excited for this map to be coming so soon, or if it worries you for the future of the content cycle of Zombies this year. Again, thanks for watching. See you soon.